Well, thank you very much. Good afternoon. I have to apologize that I was late. Don't blame on me, blame it on Bangkok traffic. In Thailand, you don't blame yourself. That is why we live in harmony. So I'm very happy, you know. I don't want to miss this opportunity, even though I try to make up. So I will speak fast. If you notice anything in my observation that is not going your way, I'm doing the right thing, so you just stop me and say, you know, what I said just baloney. But if I say it right, you just continue, because we are touching on the most sensitive issue about ASEAN, a very amazing organization. You know, ASEAN will be 50 years in how many years? In 2 years. 2 years, 50 years in 2 years. But ASEAN is still groping for identity. What is ASEAN identity? Big question. How can you find diversity in unity? Indonesian probably give the right answer. But before I start, can you change the slides first? Oh, do I have to? Okay. Okay, challenge of ASEAN media. There's no such thing as ASEAN media because the ASEAN never get together. ASEAN is unique. We get together for 3 occasions. You have to know, ASEAN get together leaders when they play golf. That is the best part. In Singapore, you don't play golf during working days. But you come to Thailand, make sure you have meeting on Monday. Because you can play golf over weekend at the expense of other governments, you see. So the second opportunities that the Thai or ASEAN will get together is when they eat durian makan. But it's very hard to get the good one from Penang Pulau, huh? And the third one you probably don't know, but don't quote me. They like to sing karaoke together. Okay. Tell me this man. To understand the problem of the heart of Thai media, I just give you the man. The Thai probably will understand. Who is this guy? He looks very normal. And he was, I was his boss. And he earned 100 times more than I do. He's the man of the week. He embodied of everything's wrong in Thai media. His name is Sorayut. I don't want to give you his last name because it's not very nice. He's my, he's a 1 million baht a day news labor. You probably have no idea. News labor. His news labor, because he worked every day. Because if he missed out one day, 1 million baht. He's the highest paid anchorman. But last week he was pressured to stay off the air because he was found guilty of cheating. 139 million baht. But that's very unfortunate. He cheated when he was not very rich. Now he gets so rich, you know. Why you want to cheat 139 millions when you earn 1 million a day, right? But the problem is a cheat is a cheat, you know, what can you do? But he's very controversial, you know why? Because in Thailand, when you get caught, people really say, oh, why you are so bad, you know, against him, he's such a nice guy. And in his group of fans in the social media, they all said that we like this guy, you know, why punish him, you know, he already returned the money. In Thailand, you want to cheat, make sure you don't get caught, okay? If you get caught, make sure you're famous. Because you're famous, you get a lot of fans. You know, the fan also, this guy is in the morning. He's not really a journalist. He's what I call, he's very good in mixing news together. Mixing news together in Thailand, Yum cow, you know, yum cow. The Thai, how can you explain? You know, it's like you make Caesar salad. You throw in the lettuce, some tomatoes, some fishy, rotten fish, you know, anchovy, and then suddenly add some cheese. Here you go. In Thailand, you don't call Caesar salad. You call lao khao. In Thailand, lao khao means you cannot. Thailand is a unique country. Forget about Anderson, Amapo. Oh, they are nothing in comparison with Thailand. Thailand, all news, anchorman or women has to have a good storyline. They have to retell the story in the way that the ordinary people will laugh. So it's very common to see Thai news hours. Alongside you have a comedian who try to comment like Jon Stewart. But they cannot really do it because the Thai, you need a funny looking man, you know, to sit beside as a comedian. So in Thailand, serious news is not so serious. You see, in Thailand, the Thai will know. When you report truth, in Thai word, truth means ข้อเท็จจริง, right? Where is the Thai group? Where's from the Thai? Okay, you're the only one. Okay. Even raising hand is a very difficult task in this country. I mean, I understand. But you see, in Thailand, fact is ข้อเท็จจริง. It's amazing because in Thai word, เท็จ is been lie. And จริง they all like combine like husband and wife. But in Thailand, you know, I always make fun. In Thailand, fact in Thai is ข้อเท็จจริง. But to me, all the news anchor and woman, they always report the news like ข้อเท็จจริง. You see what I mean? Before, you don't lie. If you state it long enough, then it becomes what you see on TV every day. So that is the man. Now he stopped his program, and Channel 3 also have to come up defend him. Said that, you know, we have to do that for the past 3-4 days, and now we decide to ask him to stop. Not because of it violates media code of conduct or ethics, whatever. It's just that we don't want to damage the reputation of Channel 3. And Channel 3 is, to me, is just like a whole factory created all this sitcom, you know, that, not sitcom, you know, that produce all these drama where you often see scenes like men slap on the face of Thai women, you know. Just try to show that how resilient Thai women's face has become all this day, which is pretty bad. You know, just like that, very bad, very degenerating. So that's my introductions to Thai media. Now let me test you. You laugh. Tell me, which country? You're from ASEAN. If you cannot answer this, I will stop lecturing. Number one, which country? 1, 2, 3. You laugh. You smile. In Thailand, smile can be passed as a yes. Do you understand? Fantastic, we love this country. Little don't news about defense. Come on, who's come from Brunei Darussalam? Oh, don't raise too high because people will see you. I love Brunei Darussalam. The Sultan is also defense minister controlling. So sometimes there's no news about defense, which is good news. Because if you make mistake, finito. So, majority of journalists are women and very feisty. Which country? Look around. No? It's in Thailand. Thailand women's journalists controls the agenda. There are 135 women journalists out of 170s at the government house. Every day they set the agenda. Why Thai women control the agenda? Because government officers, they have a very soft heart when they will approach by women journalists. That is why majority of women journalists are found in Thailand. In Japan, if you have a women journalist this much, the whole media industry will collapse. Because in Japan, as you know, only less than 5%. Right? You have somebody from Japan. So, number 3, insulting officer can land you in jail. Vietnam. Which country else? Indonesia? Indonesia. Thailand, you can insult people, but you have to be very careful. They said you have to know Tilen teaching, half joking, tongue in cheek. Then you get away. 19 newspaper published in 2014. Who said newspaper is dying? Not in Myanmar. But to update you, half of them have been shut down because there's no revenue. So Myanmar was the most exciting ASEAN member that showed to the world that the country can undertake radical media reform in the most incredible ways. More than 150 journalists killed since 1986. That is only one country, Philippines, very unanimous, right? And I think you have to look at the last one also. You can name that country. Which country journalists carry guns? And you look at why journalists got killed. We live in the Wild West. No, Philippines. In Thailand, we don't carry guns, we carry credit card. Just for sure, So journalists, Maguindanao, 32, 33 in one go. That's very, we fought, I'm the chairman of Southeast Asian Press Alliance, so we help them try to make sure that all the perpetrators in jail. But it's very difficult because in the Philippines, funny things happen along the way. That is why we also love Philippines. Journalists are part of nation building. Vietnam, but there are many countries. Singapore is the most sophisticated. Have you ever read news Straits Times in Malaysia, Straits Times in Singapore during weekend? And you read Thai newspaper, you read newspaper in Singapore, government tell you what to do. But if you read newspaper in Thailand, we tell the government what to do. That's the major difference. So, Thailand is not a watchdog. Watchdog is for other countries. Thai journalists perform mad dog. We bite at politicians. So sometimes it can be really bad. So, journalists are part of nation building Vietnam. In a way, Singapore, Malaysia. Thailand is a very amazing country. You may say that Thailand is very oppressive because of this military regime came in, they invite you for attitude change. This is why before I came in, I was kind of reluctant. I was looking at fire exit, because I could ask for attitudinal change if I said too much. Thickest weekend edition, more than 130 pages. Who said newspaper is dying? Which country has that kind of newspaper? In Thailand, 40 pages at most. Singapore, you read today, Straits Times. Actually, it's Malaysia. Malaysia is making money, this news Straits Times. Making money, just like mad. Nobody said anything about corruption case. In Thailand, we probably go much deeper. Most reliable online newspaper. No, you never read online newspaper. I thought you all on social media, reading all these important news from around the world. Singapore, no. Are you kidding me? It's of course Malaysia. Malaysia is the oldest country. They suppress print media, but they allow online media to prosper, which is opposite Thailand. Thailand, printed media is the freest in the region because they don't read English. That is why I get away for so long. But if you don't believe it, you read my comment today. I just have very bad words against this government. Is Malaysia Kini?
Yes.
Yeah, Malaysia kini. But in the future, I'm not so sure because Malaysia is making money and having new building. You see? So, receive high salary in the region, journalists. Journalists receive high salary. Can you imagine that? Of course, it's only one country. Editors in Straits Times earn more than Thai Prime Minister. Yeah, what? You didn't know? I mean, editors of Straits Times, like Business Times, like Patrick Daniels, like I try to think of the latest one, Felix. So they earn more than me. Like I have to work 6 months to get as much as my friends in Singapore, you know, monthly salary. I have to work 32 years. They work only 16 years to save money. This is why I look younger. First ASEAN country to have Freedom of Information Act. Huh? Freedom, yes. Freedom of Information Act, you know. In America, you have FOIA. You can say it's the information law. Which country? It's Thailand in 1997. And Thailand was the first. We are very, you know, in the 90s, Thailand was one of the, what you call the pinnacles of democratization. Samuel Huntington said we are the fourth wave. Now they come to Thailand looking for a ripple they couldn't even see. So that's the problem. So Thailand was the first, followed by Indonesia. Indonesia was second in 2005, but unfortunately not many people use it. Now 2 more countries are looking at it. Myanmar, amazingly, is looking for a draft. And then Cambodia as well. Philippines does not need any Freedom of Information Act. Because you don't go out on the street, you get any information you want. It's true. This is why in the constitutions guarantee. But a lot of them are fake news. Journalists could face 10 years with hard labor. Quiet. In Thailand, the most famous case was a couple of months ago, one of my juniors. He wrote very critical of this regime, and then he writes several comments again on Facebook, and then sent on Twitter, saying, you know, I just insulted you, you know, arrest me. So the military media team, you know, called him up and asked him, you know, to ask a few words and then release him. So he came out very angry, you know, said, my rights has been violated. The room was dark, no window, there was no air condition. That's his complaint. But in Myanmar, Unity Journal, anybody from Myanmar? Oh, Bengalaba, good. You know Unity Journal, right? Who write the story, maybe you don't read. Write a story about chemical weapon factory, did not check. In Myanmar, you don't write about Tatmadaw, even though you check with 2 sources and they say the same thing. In Myanmar, you want to write Tatmadaw, you better have 10 sources saying the same thing. Even that, you might get, you get 10 sources, maybe you get 5 years in jail. This is exactly, can you imagine? The man is still in jail, 3 of them. Quite a few journalists carry gun. What I'm trying to say to you, ASEAN media is very diverse. ASEAN media culture is very strange. It's represent the, what do you call, the natures of political system. You know, it's all reflected. These are little things that will show you. And I thought that, you know, I saw the book that you have. There's no need to, because you know all that. Now, media landscape. Just to give you some idea, you know, whether we are in the right direction. As I said, media is very diverse and even reflects political, economic system, very distinctive style, especially Myanmar. Myanmar is a very good case study. If you want to write a thesis, I will give you a hint. This is the only country in ASEAN that used media as an instrument for political reform. You are smiling, you're from Myanmar. Maybe I'm over-exaggerated, Right? Are you thinking that way? No. Because if you don't use media, you will never come this far. Because Myanmar media, state media, has no credibility. So when they start reform, they use exile media, foreign media, to promote news about political and economic reform. That is why in 3.5 years, one of the three pariah states, you have North Korea, Iran, as you know, turn around from one of the pariah states become must-seen country. Last year, 4 million tourists went to Burma. Before that, they're like less than 35,000 a couple of years back. Can you imagine? So, media in Myanmar was the most amazing, was changing the national image and race profile. And the other thing is that because Myanmar has so many ethnic minorities, you need media outside the state control to propagate that, oh, you know, better thing is coming. So that is why these two give a very good example that no other ASEAN country has used media so creatively. You look at Vietnam, you look at Laos, which have started Jintanakan Mai in 1984, Roi Mai in 1986. Look at their progress. Cannot even compete with 3.5 years, particularly in media. Why? Because they don't trust. Still, you have anti-Vietnamese media based in Davis, California, in Paris. You have anti-Lao governments in Minnesota. But in Myanmar, all the exile media come home, set up their own company. Misima, Irrawaddy has an office in Chiang Mai, and also you have DVB, Democratic Voice of Burma. So Myanmar actually has done a lot. And now Myanmar is moving very fast and could become the game changer. And Myanmar has made countries like Vietnam, Laos, Singapore very, very nervous. So be careful, don't behave like the Thai in early 90s, because we make other countries nervous. Now Thailand is a normal country. Vietnam, look at us, look at you. You can't even commit anything. Free trade agreement, I have 16. I joined the EU, I have TPP. Look at you, Thailand. And Myanmar, look at you. You know, we have Myanmar journalists came out with a statement to support press freedom in Thailand. Wow, what a reversal of fortune. You know, so now look at us, look at you. You know, so Thailand now has become a normal country. Well, we have been running by the military for many time, or how many government years also. Okay, social media is popular. The problem with us, the media in ASEAN, is very disconnected. You from ASEAN, every time you read, Singapore, Straits Times, Sinjo Rupao, and today we'll write what Vivian, foreign minister, said. We're going to do this, we're going to do that. Lao Vientiane Mai, who said that, you know, Thongloun Sisulit today as a chair said this and that. Thailand also. But Thailand is a little bit better because Thailand is a fanatic country when it comes to ASEAN integration, because in Thailand everything is AEC. You know, ASEAN Economic Community, because our Commerce Ministry is so scared that we cannot compete with other ASEAN countries. So they start out 3 years ago, early, to promote AEC. So in Thailand, never tell the Thai, do you know AC? No, we don't know. They think that AC is the brand name of a shirt in Thailand. But if you say, oh, AEC, yeah, I know AEC. Yeah, what is AEC? AEC is AEC, it's good for Thailand. But don't go for details, you know, AEC is ASEAN Economic Community. But if you say, do you know KEC? Oh, Korean Economic Community. Yes, we all look like Korean this day. Have you seen the Thai girls, you know, walk around with eyes like a fishbowl? Surgeries in souls, you know. So, well, we are into Korean Economic Community. ASEAN Economic Community failed. You know, Brunei last year spent $86,000 to come up with a communication master plan. Unfortunately, nobody read it. You know, Chok Hoi was so mad. Lim Chok Hoi was so mad. But anyway, so as you know, from now on we have already become our communities. It's very important that you think as ASEAN, not as a bilateral man or woman, you know. You look at ASEAN, you look as a whole community. It's a community building that counts. So if you are the youth, you are young, you can promote ASEAN. So think in terms of ASEAN, what you can do, okay? So I put all this, because I was late, they want me to finish early so that we can leave some room for questions. So, ASEAN media has to report on much variety so that we can have the sense that, you know, we are not only the leader-led input from the leader. If you report about the meetings, ASEAN will have on the average there about 3 meetings a day. You know, last year, I think I was told like over 1,200 meetings. And that is not counting other, you know, corridor meetings. The problem with ASEAN also media, when they write about, they quote their own countries. The source of their own country, they do not have cross-border perspective. They do not have regional base. They're based on press statement. So I think if you want to be a journalist, I think you need to look at most of the issue that the current journalists have not done so. My career, 32 years, has been writing about ASEAN like a madman, because ASEAN, you know, is not like a love story. You know, no matter you try to sex up this ASEAN meeting, you just can't. The leader from like, you know, like Cambodia, Hun Sen for 32 years, he has dominated the politics. How can you write about him? If you write wrong things, you end up in jail. And what can you do? So you have to be really creative. So I raised all these issues quickly, so you know. Now, this is very important. I asked you in the beginning whether we do have ASEAN identity or not. How can you find a common identity in diversity? Nightmare, no? Can Indonesia, which propagate this notion, and everybody has taken it without really understanding it, give an answer? Can any Indonesians give us a convincing answer that diversity in unity is the answer to ASEAN identity? Silence is a good answer. In Thailand, silence is golden. The problem with ASEAN is that we don't feel. The problem today, after we become an ASEAN community, media has not played a bigger role. In EU, media is right there and create. I always point out, you know, Thailand. When you came to Thailand, have you seen ASEAN Lane? Yes. Yes? Have you seen ASEAN Lane? Yes. How many countries have ASEAN Lane? Thailand was the first country to have ASEAN Lane since 1995. We actually overdid it, because in 1995 we want to be the first when we have the first summit. And the most of the people who use ASEAN Lane at that time, we have Don Mueang Not Suvarnabhumi, other tourists from Taiwan. People get confused. When you ask people, where are you from? I'm from Thailand. Oh, I have been to Taiwan twice. I like it very much. It's a very nice country, part of China. Yes. Yeah, so I see it not. But the problem is, ASEAN, nobody take it seriously. Do you know, as an ASEAN, from now on, beginning on 30th of December, all ASEAN country must have only 2 lanes, ASEAN lane and non-ASEAN lane, just like in EU, EU lane and non-EU lane. Have you ever faced a humiliation like me when you stop as EU lane at Frankfurt Airport, not knowingly, sitting there, you know, look like Bush Lee, and you come, Oh, please, this is not for Kung Fu fighting, please. It's for EU. But in Thailand, you can be as tall as Adum Jabba. You walk in the ASEAN lane. And the Thai said, welcome to Thailand. Please, ASEAN lane. But what I love is Malaysia. Malaysia is the only country that really enforced the ASEAN lane. Just last month, after a meeting, because the ASEAN lane is too long, so I walked into a foreigner. The immigration asked me immediately, are you from ASEAN? I said, yeah. Go to ASEAN lane. I was very proud, even though I know I have to wait a few seconds longer. So I'm very happy. That's the kind of thing. So, now you know Malaysia get away with a lot of things, in ASEAN. So, very good. Vietnam is very nice because sometimes they have ASEAN and sometimes not because it's all digital, On a good day, no ASEAN disappear. In Thailand is only country. I chronicle this. If you come from Cambodia, you should be happy. Thailand is the only country that have Cambodian flag at the immigration checkpoint. Have you ever noticed? And Thailand only one country in the world that have ACMET lane. You know what is the ACMET? ACMET. No? You know only ASEAN. ACMET is Irrawaddy, Mekong, Chao Phraya, Economic Cooperation. It's a grouping of this Mekong River. And Thailand is crazy enough to have APEC lane, ASEAN lane, ACMET lane, but no other lane. The foreigner never, realize that this is for ASEAN. They just come in. And being Thai, welcome to Thailand. So there's no distinction. That is why Singapore said, we are not going to do it. This is low-lying fruit. You don't have to pay a cent, but nobody do it. And this is the only thing that you all can have the sense of ASEAN as a community. You cannot have an ASEAN passport. Maybe when you are 60, maybe 61, you might have a common ASEAN passport. Or forget about common currency. I don't think that is possible. What else? You know what? This is a big quiz. If you know, one free ticket to Brunei. What is the difference between ASEAN? The most important thing that between ASEAN and EU. People always say, ASEAN copy EU. Do you believe that? Don't you dare. ASEAN and EU is orange and apple. Never. If anybody said we are moving like EU in the same direction, you must stand up and say, ASEAN is unique. We will never follow EU, but we steal good idea from EU. But we never give credit like 2 meetings, 2 summits, we stole from EU. But then suddenly Laos said, oh, no more this year. We fed up with 2 summits. So this year we have only summit, but 2 summits in 2 days together instead of 2 summits in 2 separate time, like in April or in November. Laos said, very good, we have 2 summits on the 7th and the 8th, save money. So now suddenly ASEAN way of thinking, because ASEAN Charter said we have 2 summits and you cannot change it because it's ASEAN Charter. Okay, we have 2-day summit in one go. So that's very ASEAN. So never say that. If anybody said ASEAN is like EU, you have to go out, get very angry. But one thing that ASEAN can say is the most unique, and you can be very proud. ASEAN has ASEAN song. EU doesn't have. You should be proud, and you should sing. It will take years before it can climb up the billboard. So the Thai one. This is just trying to give you, the idea of how Westerners look at freedom of information, freedom of expression in this part of the world is not free. So I give you so this is what foreigners look at us. They say, you people live in an unfree country. I disapprove. I said, no, look at me. This is my own non-Western index. It's actually my index. Who said we are not free? We're free, but a little bit of freedom. But don't say we are not free. Laos will get mad. You see, Laos is free a little less. If you look at free a lot more, Philippines, Indonesia. Free a lot, Thailand, Cambodia. Myanmar, free for now. Malaysia, wow, we're also free, but you can get in jail, Malaysia inside the free a lot less Singapore. In Singapore, in journalists, they are very good. Singapore journalists are very good because you are mistake. If you make mistake, you lost your job. So, no rumor. In Thailand, in Philippines, you make mistake, that is natural. So we have a lot of standard. So when you talk about ASEAN, you have to realize on that. Free a little Brunei, free a little less Vietnam, free a little less Laos. In other words, ASEAN said, oh, you know, judging from our standard, we're all very free, but a little bit of freedom. So it's not fair that the Western say we are not free. Laos is a lot freer than 20 years ago. Vietnam, look at Vietnam, the blogger. Actually, Vietnam is one of the freest. The gay, lesbians, transvestite community is the most liberal. They all moved now from Phuket to Ho Chi Minh, you know. I try to stop them, I can't. Because they're migrating very fast. Because Vietnam has the most liberal law. No more Thailand. Forget about Thailand. I will give you just some pictures. This is how I conceive, you know, like Singapore, everything, Philippines, everything is free. This is Indonesia. It's like a Sibaran. You have to know how to write. You see, certain issue you can expand, like a Temple magazine on corruptions, you know, on the police, not on the girlfriends, but boyfriend or like input. So this is like a zebra. This is Singapore. You know exactly what to write. If you stay away outside, you know, you're dead, you're finished. Patrick Daniel, my friend, editor, former editor of Business Times, came out one day ahead of the economic forecast, 1 year in jail. Of course, it's famous. You don't, in Singapore, you don't publish anything, forecast, especially economy. It's not a poo-poo, okay? This is like a robot skin. It's a pattern of Malaysian media. You know, you write what you know, what to write, but you don't write on issue. That is why Najib stays so long. This is which country? Look like burnt up pizza, right? Tomato sauce or blood on it. This is actually Thailand. You can write anything unless we give you notice that you overdo it. Otherwise, all things is allowed. But at the moment, the issue about the monarchy has been one of the top issues, so you probably heard a lot. But in Thailand, actually, Thailand is pretty free. And I will tell you, most of the information you read in the Thai newspaper, 90% are confidential. No, seriously. Because Thai journalists has a very low intellectual capacity. When they get document, they just put it on the paper, and then they put it on the Facebook. So, Thailand is the center of information. I said information gatherer, not espionage, because you don't need to scribe, you just need read newspaper. I just tell you, no, seriously, people said Thailand, oh, no press freedom. They have never read a newspaper. I give you one example. like Bangkok Post is very good when it comes to defense news. In fact, most of the defense news in Bangkok Post, 99.99 that report are confidential documents. In Singapore, the person who wrote it used to be my one of my my student. If she write like this in Singapore, she will be in jail 225 years. Wow, that is nothing. Because if you count the whole year, that would be 3,000 years. Because all the news are confidential. Because journalists here, they don't distinguish information sensitive to national interest, to personal interest. So you read Thai newspaper, it's all pretty, like a bowl of salad. You know, like tom yam goong, you know, very hot, sour. So our problem in Thailand, information overloaded. But nobody knows quality. Singapore, Malaysia is a much better. So I think that's what we need. Accountability, editorial independence. Editorial independence is a big problem in ASEAN because you have to be really sensitive. I have been writing editorials, so I know. And I think you need to understand when you write about ASEAN this day, particularly in the age of ASEAN community. But whatever you're trying to do, I think there are a few things. In the future, you know, you come across, you become a scholar, so please focus on some of this diversity and also, well, I think the last one, minorities and those groups that disadvantaged group, particularly in countries like Indonesia, like Thailand, northern region. So, and in Thailand, we are gender sensitive, even though we complain. But I think in Thailand, gender, particularly in the media, is pretty overwhelming. This is the current situation in Thailand. I have to close my. This is the trend. You can have this PowerPoint if you want, because it can be very dangerous for you. So no, okay? Now, this is the problem. This is my own. We are very parochial when we write about our country. Filipinos are great country, have a lot, many journalists, good writer. There are more Filipino journalists than number of doctors in Thailand. You know, because Indonesian has one-liner, columnists, they can write anything. In Thailand, you only allowed to be columnists when you don't have anything to write. You know, when you are old enough, right? In the Philippines, you know, Philippines has one-liner columnists. You know, you're from Philippines, so we need journalists that have to write about the whole community and fear of interference. Laos, for example, Vientiane Mai seldom report on news about ASEAN only as a chair, because some journalists from Laos, they think that if you write too much on other country, you interfere with the internal affair. That is why Sombat Somporn, one of the leading civil rights, human rights, disappear, and media there did not report much. So you have this kind of thing. So now issue happening in Singapore, in Malaysia, can be contagious, in Thailand, migration, terrorism, haze problem, and also we need avian flu. So we need to know and write, and in the future, ASEAN generation has to work together. And we have, you see, mutual ignorance, I mentioned. There's a lot of things. In the next 10 years will be crucial from ASEAN, because ASEAN already come out with the ASEAN so-called vision, 2025, 10 more years. 10 more years, we ASEAN have 10 years to get our act together, to integrate. And don't be afraid, you know, because those who did not want to see integration of ASEAN will say, oh, don't, because you will increase transnational crime, you will increase all this labor will come and steal your job. That is not true. I think a lot of good things happen when we become one single community of 625 million. And one of the things is that, we have fixed mindset about each of our countries. So I think it's very important to have a new idea, think outside the box, sometimes jump outside the train to see, what's going on. And it's good. Future of ASEAN, journalists, when you have to deal with, so this is important, the last one. Understand the art of nuanced expression, linking to regional sensitivity and political spin, expressing moderation. This is all 10 countries into one. Otherwise, Singapore, what are you going to do? In Thailand, the attitude. So all these things come together. So ASEAN, being ASEAN, so you have to be open-minded and be ready. If some of this country report something nasty about you, just laugh about it. There was one time I'm in Singapore reading Straits Times. Straits Times love to use news from Thailand because Thailand is a funny country. You already often have funny news. One of the funny news is that a woman, found out that her boyfriend is having an affair. So she decided to cut that things and throw it to crocodile pits. And that was the inside news, on page 3 of Straits Times. Thailand has a lot of news like this, They call it human interest news. So, that kind of thing. So, just we laugh about it. And, if you send somebody to write about across the Indonesians, it could be a problem. But living in a community, so when you say thank you, you better say in 10 languages. Chesterton Bade, thank you, ขอบใจหลาย terima kasih, ขอบคุณมาก ขอบคุณ all good. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Kavi, for your engaging and thought-provoking presentation. We would now like to begin the Q&A session so that our selected reactors can directly engage with you. Would you like to chair?
Oh, no, don't need.
Okay.
So, I have a problem with my leg, I'm not drunk.
To initiate the Q&A session, could I please call upon our first reactor, Mr. Jude Russell Quintape from the Philippines.
Won't take place without the media. In this light, media plays a crucial role in telling the truth and communicating it to our people. This delegate from the Philippines would like to commend our enthusiastic speaker this afternoon, Mr. Kavi Chongkittavorn, specifically on the 3 points he emphasized in his speech. Number 1, recognizing the regional identity of ASEAN media. Number 2, characterizing the media landscape of ASEAN. And number 3, identifying the news reports, journalism patterns, and news sources on ASEAN. With the issues presented and considering that Asian countries are somehow pluralistic when it comes to culture and value system, sir, I would like to ask, what do you think should be the binding factors, specifically for our media, to get connected to ASEAN community and its purposes?
Oh, very good question. I think one thing, ASEAN journalists or journalists in our country have no network. Filipinos journalists has no network with the US. They like to visit, there are a lot of freebie package to United States. And ASEAN journalists visit Germany more, learn from German media more than learning from the Philippines or Thailand. We Thai journalists learn the technique of investigation, investigative report from PCIJ, Philippines, because Philippines, so far within ASEAN context, is the best in following the story, like Estrada, how he is so corrupt, by taking picture of his mistress houses. Thailand also offers some lessons how you can investigate the corruption, the money. We discovered in 1997 that the driver of former Thaksin, Chinawat, have in his account, more than 3 billion baht. It's very nice to be driver of former prime minister and enjoy 3 billion baht kind of salary. So this kind of thing need to learn from each other. But we don't have fighting. Filipinos, before that in 2008, have a very good relation with China media community, no more. We try, go to China, it's important. And number 3, surprisingly, you can get Herald Tribune much easier than to get a newspaper from ASEAN. For example, in Bangkok, you cannot get any foreign newspaper that come from the region at all, except in one place at Asia Book, Straits Times. But you can only get a variety of newspaper. For example, if you are in Hat Yai, I'm from Hat Yai, southern Thailand, you can get Sin Chau Ru Pao, you can get Sin Pin Ru Pao, you can get Lien Hau Chao Pao, you can get Uchusan Malayu, you can get all these things. So it reflects the interest. So I wish to see that in the future, I mean, if you don't have access to internet, you can get local newspaper, local edition. In fact, I would mention Myanmar because now Myanmar published Myanmar version of Straits Times and also in Jakarta. That kind of things is increasing, and I think it's good. So we need that kind of newspaper who write about ASEAN and share information. And finally, the most important, we allow Western source of information to dominate the discussion about community building in ASEAN. We do not create or generate our own narrative. We do not have that capacity. A lot of newspapers in the region use World Service report, the way they characterize ASEAN. For example, you will realize that ASEAN is not about the organization that provide opportunity, because if you read World Service, it's the grouping that is divided, that has no unity. They could not fight against the Chinese. They have problems among themselves, have problems in South China Sea and all these things. Because this kind of narrative came from outside, not us. I would be very happy to read the story if Cambodian journalists write about issue in Cambodia and said that we really have problems in our integrations, we have to bridge the income gap. That would be great, but we don't, because we don't think about our community as one. We think of only ourselves. So I wish young people, when they think about ASEAN, would think as a whole. Don't focus only on their own country. See, this issue impact on you. And from now on, you have to think through, as I said, non-ASEAN, from now on, should be in all countries, not particularly Thailand or Malaysia and all that. And there are a lot of issues. If you want to read in details what to do, find a copy of ASEAN's Vision 2025, Forging Ahead, then you will know exactly. And if you want to partake in building this community in ASEAN and East Asia also, you can follow step by step.
Thank you, Mr. Kavi, for your answer, and thank you, Jude, for your question. I would now like to invite our next reactor, Mr. Dennison from Malaysia.
So firstly, I would like to say thank you so much for your wonderful presentation. And it's very true. Malaysia right now, online portals are much more popular than printed newspapers, because I think the younger generations feel that printed newspapers are too one-sided rather than being moderate or in both sides. And definitely, media is a very plays a very big part, in ASEAN, and that what really touched me. And media could be the medium to actually integrate ASEAN again. And another thing that touched me was when you said that future reports or publications should be on minorities. because that is a very, very important issue. Because I see that in Malaysia, the minorities, stories about minorities are not reported enough. But but in Thailand, news about Southern Thai, Patani, I've often read online that it's very consistently updated, consistently reported. So those are the two factors that really touch me, right? The media and ASEAN identity, and also on minorities. And I feel that all ASEAN countries should have a specific section in the newspaper about ASEAN. We do have local news, sports, and world. So they should have an extra section for ASEAN, the news in ASEAN. But there comes a problem when media nowadays is all about profit. The best news actually sells better. So how could journalism reform from being profit-based to more informative-based? So that's my question.
Well, this is a $1 million question, and it would take weeks to answer, because this is the dilemma. You either have good newspaper, cannot survive, or you have profitable newspaper that serve proprietors and certain vested interest group. I think you have to find balance, so you have a good newspaper that is not seeking too much profit. I don't know, I have not seen a very good business model yet, because at the moment everybody's trying to make sure that if you are hotels, you are on the social media, you have a lot of hit, a lot of likes, make sure the news update, forget the rest. But I think one of the most important is the quality of journalists, whether you write for any kinds of platform. Because I think today the biggest problem of being journalist is very simple. Everybody can be journalist, especially Thailand. Thailand has the world's largest number of citizen journalists, Twitter journalists. Thai, we write 3 words, don't you ever touch me, you violate my rights. So that kind of thing. So Thai people love to have opinion. But after certain people said some certain thing, but not on their own. So, and that is the problem. I think being journalist, you need to be really true to yourself, and you really want to be journalist. You can be accidental journalist, you want to partake in the discussion, that's fine. But you have to be very careful. And I can only say in Thailand this day, Thai journalists face very difficult time. The best golden years of Thai journalism is from 1992 to 1997. That's when Thailand has enjoyed economic growth. At one time, it was not China, Thailand was the world's highest economic growth with 13.5%. 13.5%, no other country. So journalists enjoy freedoms, high salary, and we draft very good constitution. This is why we have people constitution. And journalism serve as a platform for people to give idea, to draft the constitution. I have to give you this example. In 1997, Thai constitution called People Constitution. Journalists promote the idea of participation, that everybody can contribute to the drafting. So in the end of 1 year, there are over 900,000 input from common people said, you must put into your constitution. And we did, and that's the problem. So Thai constitution is very strange, so it keeps changing. Because in 1997, one of the uniqueness, which is very bad, that is to be a MP candidate, you must have a bachelor degree. So that's one of the things, because common people think that if you have education, you will not be corrupt, you will serve your country well. Or maybe there's some element of truth, because most of the corrupt have PhD. But that's the point. So, and then this kind of idea prevent other NGO that have no education but strong experience in engaging with civil society and all that could not partake in the political life. So that kind of thing came in. So now, from now on, Thailand keep changing. Thailand has 18, 19 constitution and it's still not perfect. Thai people, it's not like any other country. We need perfect constitution, which is not available anyway. So I think media has not done its part. So the profit making has to be moderate. If not no profit, it's very difficult. The reason I mentioned Malaysia Kini because I helped Malaysia Kini during the difficult time because I'm president of SIPA, and Stephen Kang was my co-worker. He helped me when I was the editor of The Nation, so I know. And now they're making money with new building. So I'm questioning if they make so much money in the future, will Malaysia Kini, Stephen Kang, or Prochanda become as independent as they were in the past?
Thank you, Mr. Kavi, and thank you, Aaron, for your question. So, ladies and gentlemen, one more round of applause for Mr. Kavi. To save on time, we're supposed to have break now, but